morning, everybody. My name is Wayne Meyer. I've been practicing kata since 2010, and I was very fortunate to actually speak at the first KataCon. And I can't tell you how happy I am to be back at KataCon6. And I'd like to present a challenge. One of my learning moments this week is I got to bring two of my colleagues with me is, how many people are here alone? Can you raise your hand? I challenge you all to bring somebody else next year, because it's a different learning experience when you're here with somebody else and your colleagues to talk about this stuff than it is to be here alone. So that's my challenge to you. I'm here to introduce Tyson Ortiz. Tyson spoke at KataCon2, and at KataCon2, he told us about how he started practicing kata in his professional life, and then he kind of ran into a situation where he had to use kata in his personal life. And he's going to share with us an update today on that situation in his personal life, which I'm excited to hear about. And then he's going to talk to us about how kata can help with operational patient engagement. So with further ado, Tyson Ortiz.
Thanks, Wayne. Good morning, everybody. I kind of hate the name of this presentation, but I thought that can Toyota Kata save healthcare would be a little too arrogant and cliche and pretentious. So that's one point I wanted to make before I get started. But that's really the hypothesis that I have that I want to share with you guys. The other thing before I get started is that if 10 years ago, if I would have seen this title, I would have been outside having coffee on my phone, because it's healthcare people, right? And yes, but it's actually, I'm trying to talk to everybody because I think we all have some role in the healthcare system and are all dependent on it. And many of us have many roles in the healthcare system. So I'll get going. I won't belabor what Wayne said about the background, but I wanted to just share a couple of pictures of these two worlds that I've been straddling for the last 7 or 8 years. I got lucky to learn lean, become a lean practitioner by practicing improvement kata, coaching kata with a great mentor. Back in 2012, 2013, at the very same time, I my second child was born with a lot of medical complexity. Here I am, just before KataCon2, I was getting ready to hand him over for his 6th open heart surgery, where he was going to get his heart taken out and a new one put in. So that was a pretty surreal day. So it may seem like these are really different worlds, but one of the big insights I've had is that they're actually really the same in many, many ways. And I don't mean that you can do challenges and target conditions and PDCA in your care. It's much, much bigger than that. So one of the things I love about kata, especially the old book, thanks Mike, the first couple of sections really paint a nice picture of what's been wrong with lean. Why is nobody turning into Toyota? And so that picture, we see lean's been sort of event-based model where, if there's no Kaizen event happening, improvement's not happening. Kaizen events tend to happen on processes that are having trouble. We're not very good at proactive Kaizen, are we? In general, at least lean hasn't been. And lean's coming for a lot of criticism about being overly focused on the tools, what the old researchers at Toyota came back with that they saw on the factory floor. I think a key insight in kata is that all these things are based on the single factor that lean has been, the improvement model behind lean is about experts driving improvement. There's no improvement happening unless there's a lean expert around to drive it, right? We delegate improvement to the KPO, and off they go. Business as usual is the predominant activity 99% of the time for 99% of the processes. So improvement's actually constrained to how big is your KPO, your lean, good are they, et cetera. As a result, you can't sustain the gains. It's too expensive to keep these people around. How many lean people have you, or entire departments have you seen laid off? And I think for many people, from frontline staff through executives, they kind of get a bad taste in their mouth, right, from lean. Anybody violently opposed to this or disagree? No, it's not a discussion, it's a keynote, but I can't help but ask. These days. Okay, so let's talk about healthcare for a sec. So at this point, I've slept in hospitals hundreds of nights. I've had literally thousands of interactions with clinicians because I've tried to be in the weeds of every decision in my son's care, and some themes have emerged. You know, I think healthcare is a great example of the Deming point that a bad process will beat a good person every time. It's been amazing to me what incredible people are. You know, healthcare is full of amazing people, exceptionally high caliber, but you see some crazy things as a patient, or I know working in it too. So what happens? Well, I can shout. Thanks. So healthcare is also very event-based, right? Healthcare is based on clinical encounters. We go to the doctor when something is wrong, right? By and large. What does the doctor do? Well, they have a set of peer-reviewed, evidence-based protocols that they're going to pull from their toolbox, and they're going to give us a care plan. Healthcare is also expert-driven, just like lean. So what happens in healthcare? It's in the news. We experience it. It's pretty expensive, right? There's a lot of bad experiences, malpractice insurance. You know, you get a lot of people complaining, despite the amazing people who work in it. And there's all this stuff out there about how unsustainable it is. So I think you guys probably see where I'm going here. So these are two very different worlds, but guys, it's the exact same improvement model. Right? Lean experts are just like clinicians. They have all these process owners, patients that they're going to go ahead and dictate action plans or care plans to, but there's way too many of them for them to spend enough time with everyone to really do good experimentation towards challenges. So one of the great things about Kata is it gives us a way to get out of this model to a better model where the process owners are the experts in their own care. Or, well, you can see I'm struggling with it's the same world in my point of view now. So I'm trying not to be too blunt here, but there's a lot of great things happening in healthcare, a lot of awesome innovation, and I think a lot of it's probably necessary for saving healthcare, but I don't think any of it that I have found is sufficient. In some sense, a lot of these great things are sort of polishing a turd until we can see this model, see that this is what's going on, and find a way to break out. Thanks. So what is the improvement Kata really doing? To me, it's not about process improvement. It's about mindset shift. We're teaching process owners to go from delegating improvement to others to taking ownership of improving their own work. We're shifting mindset. We're teaching them from knowing solutions with whatever information they have at hand or thinking they know to building curiosity, having curiosity about what's possible and being willing to find a path. We're transitioning from being fearful of uncertainty to being confident in our ability to navigate uncertainty. What about the coaching kata? So managers are dictators, right? By and large, I know I was. But they could empower their people. Coaching kata practice, if it's effective, and that can be a big if, helps do that. The basic management by results model that pervades everything is very transactional, right? I pay you to do the job, I give you the target, you go hit it, or you're gonna, you're not doing the job. The ideal employee is like a fire and forget missile that you can just shoot at the target and walk away and not have to deal with it. Coaching Kata helps change that mindset to, I don't want to interact with you as little as possible. I want to interact with you every day in small chunks to grow your capability. Managers are really overburdened, right? They take on the needs of all their people, or the responsibilities of all their people, tell them how to solve them, and it's kind of crushing. Coaching Kata practice helps balance responsibilities so that everybody can focus on what they're in an ideal position to do. So I think these parallels hold in healthcare. That's my hypothesis. So here I go again with this terrible phrase, operationalize emerging principles. But if you look around healthcare, there's a lot of things going on that are begging for the breakthroughs that Kata offers. So here's the vision of the Institute for Patient and Family-Centered Care. I'm not going to read it to you. But across healthcare, there's all these different things going on that are great, but they're lacking the insights that Kata has, and they're lacking the methods that Kata has, and they need them, even if they don't know it yet. So I've been chipping away at this. I'm trying to find a way to test these crazy ideas. And I've gotten lots of great feedback from people who work on this stuff about the potential, but so far not doing a great job of finding anybody who's willing to go play. Really the idea of this high-touch, deliberate coaching is a struggle for a lot of people. So there's a big paradigm shift that I think needs to happen for this to really be tested. But at any rate, if you guys have any suggestions for me, please let me know. So let me tie it up by coming back to my son. So the picture from the beginning was in 2015, late 2015, and he got that heart. As it turns out, we were inpatient for a few months. It was a rough recovery. My wife learned from one of the nurses, and so at this point, this is like 3 layers of hearsay, so, threshold of knowledge. But she was told that of the 5 cardiologists on the heart failure team, 4 of them voted against listing my son for the heart because they didn't think it would help. His condition, his symptoms were mostly GI symptoms, and I won't get into details there, but they didn't think it would help. My wife and I, because of our involvement over the years, were pretty sure that it was cardiac related and a new heart would help. And luckily, the surgeon agreed and overrode the cardiologist because, you know how healthcare works, right? So he got the heart, and it's been made all the difference in the world for him. So funny enough, this was about a month ago. He had his annual cardiac catheterization where they go in, they do a biopsy, they check pressures, better than ever numbers, and one of the cardiologists that supposedly voted against giving them heart just cleared him to start learning to play hockey. So we were able to bend the odds in his case. This condition has a bad distribution of outcomes. We were able to bend his odds with our ownership. And I think that we have a tough case where we sort of strained the system and learned a lot, but I think the themes hold for much more simple conditions. Across the board, I think that there's a lot of potential for healthcare to be able to teach people to bend their own odds and for clinicians to learn how to work with engaged patients instead of assuming that improving their health is their job. It's not their job, it's our job. And I think our societies have made a mistake in abdicating that responsibility and delegating it to the experts, and we got to find a way to balance out that responsibility. Thanks.